Welcome to my In the Bag of 2023. I am currently sporting the Grip BX3 bag, currently holding 23 discs in total. So let's start with my putters. Almost since day one, I've been putting with the Prime Burst Wardens. They are a beadless putter and I carry two of them. There's not a whole lot to say about my putters. They kind of just go into the basket sometimes. Next are a couple throwing putters that I have been testing out. One being the Intercore. This is literally the straightest putter that I've ever thrown, and I'm very, very excited to bring this into 2023. And then next is actually the Envy. This one I can rip a little bit harder. It's actually been pretty stable thus far. I'm gonna have to wipe this stamp because I just cannot be seeing this, being a Paul McBeth fan. For my forehand approach shots, I'm gonna be going with some zones. So I have a Jawbreaker zone, which is dead straight. Bit of a more stable zone in the ESP. A new one that's going into the bag this year, the AGL Baobab. Insanely overstable. I think this is gonna be more of a utility disc. As far as my mid-ranges go, I'm only carrying two right now. The 5-time ESP Buzz. It's very flat, which I like for my backhand grip, and it's also really straight to a nice little fade at the end. So very trusty. Next is a newer addition, and that's gonna be the AGL Magnolia. This one has been a bit more stable than that Buzz I just showed you. Just kind of testing this one out going into the season. My fairway drivers, currently bagging 6 of them. I think these will always stay in my bag as long as I can keep finding them, but these are gonna be the USDGC run of the Halo Leopard 3. Currently bagging 2. This one flips up very nicely, been in the bag a lot longer. This one's brand new, so I can throw this flat and pretty hard and get a nice little straight flight out of it. These are always gonna be a go-to of mine. My lone 7-speed is going to be the Athena. Very straight to a pretty overstable finish for me. Liking to throw this one forehanded and backhand, so pretty good disc to have in the bag, especially to stay away from some trouble. Then something that's not gonna go as far as the Athena, but is very overstable and great for my forehands is gonna be the Halo Thunderbird. Not a whole lot to say about the Thunderbird. You probably thrown one. My 9 speeds, both very new to the bag. First off being the AGL Locust, and this is a 9.4 -1.3 fairway driver. And this thing's actually flipping up very nicely to flat for me. Probably the furthest 9 speed that I've thrown thus far. And then the 21 Nate Sexton Firebird, just did a video about this disc. Go check it out. This is gonna be a great forehand disc for me. That goes a little bit further than my Thunderbird, but it's still gonna be pretty nice, straight, and stable for my forehand. And then lastly, my distance drivers. First is the Avenger SS. This disc is super flippy, so hopefully this year I get into more backhand rollers, because that's really why I threw this in the bag this year, is to try and get better at rollers. What I like to call my further Leopard 3 is the Surge SS and the Z Swirl plastic. Very gummy feeling plastic. I absolutely love this plastic. I can throw it flat or maybe a little bit of hyzer, just watch it go dead straight, and this never has a whole lot of fade. I can usually keep it in the fairway if I hit my line. Now I've bagged 2 zones, 2 Leopard 3s, and now I'm bagging 3 Halo Wraiths. My all-time favorite distance driver to date. First one being this red and green one. You've probably seen it on the channel before. I absolutely love this disc. This is my most flippiest one, so I'm throwing this backhand and forehand. Forehand, I'm throwing it a lot on some hyzer flips or just some nice little subtle flex shots. This blue one's gonna be the middle stability of them all, so pretty stable, but when it does come to some headwinds, this one does get beat up a little bit. And then the newest one in the bag is this factory second one. Very sweet looking. This is gonna be the beefiest of them all. So just trying to dumb down my bag just ever so slightly and get a few of the same molds in the bag. Next up, I have the Paige Pierce Lightweight Nuke, and this is a disc that has very quickly became another workhorse of a distance driver in my bag. For me, this flips up pretty nicely. If I throw it flat, it does leak a little bit to the right, but overall being so light, it still has some great stability to it, and it's one that I've been able to trust a lot. So it's definitely gonna stay in my bag. I'm mainly throwing the Nuke on backhands, not really any forehands. And then my last 2 drivers is gonna be my flippiest and then my most overstable. So starting off with the Hades, this is gonna be my max distance, no wind. Flip it up to flat, watch it ride, and usually be able to still fade back into the fairway. The Hades will probably always be my max distance shot. And it's just a great disc to watch it flip up, ride, and come back. Very nice S-turn out of this one, and honestly my favorite Hades that I have thrown. So if I do lose this one, Gonna be a little sad. My most overstable, this is really in the bag in case I have just crazy amounts of headwind, is gonna be the Calvin Destroyer. And I have not yet found a wind that this doesn't stick up to. I know that this run was a little bit less stable than the previous years, but for my arm speed and for what I've dealt with, this is still very overstable. So throwing some really hard flex lines with this, or just throwing it into headwinds flat and just watching it do its thing. The Calvin Destroyer will have a place in my bag. Anyway, guys, that is what it's gonna be in my bag for this 2023 season. If you bag any of the same discs, let me know down in the comments. Very excited for the warm weather to come. It is absolutely freezing outside right now, hence why I did this inside video. But very excited to get out there and play some rounds this season. Make sure to hit that like and subscribe button, and we will see you in the next one.